Security, environment, climate change, health, visa waiver, financing and trade are some of the areas of cooperation secured by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in 2019.
This is fundamental to ensuring that each of all our ministries is able to have the benefit of international partnership and support in the achievement of their goals.
Let's recap the high points. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs maintained strong relations with multilateral partners in 2019. As a result, Jamaica and China signed an agreement for border security and airport operations. 180 million RMB grant, or 3.5 million Jamaican dollars, was allocated to purchase CAT scan machines for installation at our 2 airports.
These scanners will ensure that we maintain international security standards, reducing the risk of non-detection of contraband and, of course, counter tax avoidance.
Another partnership on security was inked with the government of Japan, this time to provide sea vessels to bolster maritime surveillance and disaster response capabilities. It will also facilitate climate change adaptation and increased investments in the country. Meanwhile, 20 million euros, or 2.8 billion Jamaican dollars, was secured through the European Union to support public finance management reform and forest management programs.
We are assisting the government in building the necessary structures of a modern, integrated financial management system.
Importantly, the program will also be seeking to better utilize forest resources for economic and social purposes.
Still on the environment, Jamaica ratified the Regional Agreement on Access to Information, Public Participation and Justice in Environmental Matters, also known as the Escazu Agreement. As President of the International Seabed Authority, Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith led the adoption of a high-level plan for 2019 to 2023.
I would like to reaffirm Jamaica's continued commitment to and support for the work of the authority. Oceans and seas assume special significance for the economic sustainability of small island developing states such as Jamaica.
Minister Johnson-Smith also gave assurance of government's commitment to reviewing the protocol and procedures of the 1997 U.S.-Jamaica Maritime Counter-Narcotics Cooperation Agreement, commonly known as the Shipwrighter Agreement.
Jamaica takes seriously any semblance of violation of the human rights of our nationals. I can indicate that with Chile, in summary, we focused on trade. With Costa Rica, we signed a memorandum on political consultations to deepen relations. With Ghana, we followed up on implementation on agreements between President Addo and Prime Minister Holness when the President paid a working visit to Jamaica.
This official working visit of the Ghanaian President also resulted in a visa waiver for Jamaicans traveling to Ghana.
Regarding Morocco, we discussed the prospect of future high-level visits and methods by which we can expand and deepen our cooperation framework. And with the UAE, we signed a memorandum in relation to mutual visa waivers.
The vibrancy and dynamism of Jamaica's bilateral partnerships was evident at the hosting of Diplomatic Week. The event saw the participation of 31 non-resident heads of mission and the presentation of credentials of 19 new ambassadors to Jamaica.
The government of Jamaica therefore continues to be guided by our strong desire to use our presence at the multilateral level to find meaningful solutions to common challenges.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in 2019 made significant achievements in the area of trade. Through the Council for Trade and Economic Development, COTED, Jamaica secured a 2-year suspension of the Common External Tariff (CET) for imports of lithium-ion batteries until April 30, 2021, as well as an increase in the CET for imports of clinker and cement into Jamaica to 50%. CARIFORUM, of which Jamaica is a part, and the United Kingdom concluded and signed the CARIFORUM-UK Economic Partnership Agreement (EPA) post-Brexit. This means Jamaica is now a signatory to the CARIFORUM-UK EPA, which will guarantee uninterrupted preferential trade between the region and the UK in a post-Brexit era. The Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Ministry explored further opportunities at the second staging of China International Import Expo in November. High-level participation within the region included the signing of 6 financing agreements between CARICOM and the European Union. The €114.8 million are to support the framework for CARICOM integration and the implementation of CARIFORUM States Economic Partnership Agreement. Also on the agenda are the Caribbean Investment Facility and criminal justice systems, as well as promoting regional integration in the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. In February, Jamaica became signatory to the CARICOM Multilateral Air Services Agreement MASAJ, giving allowance for increased intra-regional travel without restriction on routes for airlines owned by CARICOM nations. Through a Memorandum of Understanding, Jamaica will provide support for the operationalization and institutionalization of the CARICOM Results-Based Management System Phase 2. During 2019, the country successfully hosted the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference under the theme Diaspora, Building Pathways to Sustainable Development.
We obtained support for 5 projects on the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, and we also had an execution of 40 projects across the country on the day of service, including education, healthcare, community development, and public safety.
Other outcomes included the endorsement of the draft National Diaspora Policy and a new Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. The Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council was also established.
The conference remains one of the principal forums for engagement and inclusion of our diaspora in the country's development.
In the wake of the Windrush crisis, the ministry provided assistance to 40 Jamaicans who were disenfranchised of their right to live in the United Kingdom and access other benefits. 27 were contacted by the British High Commission UK Home Office. 5 had their rights fully or partially reinstated, while others are awaiting conclusion. 7 were denied and 2 were deemed ineligible. In addition, a 2-year compensation scheme was established by the British government.
I knew that the day would come when we would announce the compensation, but no amount of money will ever undo the injustice or the pain or the hurt or damage, not to just to individuals, to their families, and the consequences will live with them forever. But this goes some way towards redressing those considerations.
Following the passage of Hurricane Dorian in September, the ministry established an emergency telephone line to assist Jamaican families seeking to locate loved ones in the Bahamas.
Jamaican families had contacted us with a desire to try to locate 48 persons in the Bahamas from whom they had not heard. I'm very pleased to be able to advise that we have located 43 of them, and they are in good health.
The Foreign Affairs Ministry also collaborated with the Jamaica Defence Force and the Canadian government to deploy 120 members of the Disaster Assistance Response Team DART to the Bahamas. The ministry continued to promote and support Jamaica's representation on international bodies and was successful with the following candidatures in 2019. The country was elected to the Commission on Narcotic Drugs to serve for the period 2020 to 2023 and re-elected to the Council of the International Seabed Authority. Professor Vereen Shepherd was re-elected to the Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, and Mrs. Margaret May Macaulay will continue serving the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. Another significant achievement of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was the completion and handover of its new headquarters building in downtown Kingston.
With these modern premises and expanded facilities, the ministry will be much better placed to carry out its operations in the pursuit of Jamaica's international relations. The work of this ministry is to ensure that our multilateral and bilateral relationships, and regional and hemispheric, that they all coalesce and are driven in a way that contributes to national development.